When I made the potentially foolish decision to pick up this higher mileage BMW E46 Convertible, I knew one of the first things I'd want to do with it is get some sort of good quality auxiliary input into this navigation head unit. Now, essentially I had a few different options. The lowest and easiest lift was simply to do one of these FM transmitters right here. You simply plug it into the cigarette lighter, and then you have poor quality audio played through FM that you can Bluetooth up to. It's very cheap, very easy, and it's what I've survived with for now. But not only does it sound terrible, but also this cigarette lighter right here is on all the time. So if I leave it in the car, theoretically it would drain the battery after a number of days. So I knew I needed to do something to actually tap into the speakers. So I did consider doing some sort of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto replacement head unit. However, in the E46, especially with this nav unit, from what I understand, the head unit is not all right here. The actual computer is in the trunk of the car, and this is simply a screen to display and control the computer. So therefore, you're a little bit more limited on simply just swapping in some sort of generic doubled-in unit and getting a proper stereo system right here into the car. But there are options, there are brands out there, and I did talk with some of those brands. They even offered me a system that would take up most of this area. I think some of the cars you have to do a little bit of cutting, others you don't. Maybe a little bit of a plastic insert. I think Enom might have been the brand. You all might have seen them there. But I didn't like the way they looked. I didn't like that it takes away from such a beautiful and classic interior design here. I'm a big fan of how the E46's interior looks, especially with this wood grain, the nav unit and everything. I wanted to keep my costs down. I wanted to keep the vehicle looking as original as possible, but I wanted to keep that high fidelity audio and the Bluetooth functionality. That was most important. Obviously, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto would be nice, but most importantly, just give me Bluetooth audio, because the previous owner put this little phone mount here. I can magnet my phone to it, and then it sticks, and that's fine enough. I don't really need to nav that much. I just want the music. So I stumbled upon this product called BlueBus, and there's this one guy named Ted who makes these units, and apparently they Bluetooth, or they don't Bluetooth, they connect into the vehicle's computer in the back of the car, and for just $200 or so, not only do you get high quality Bluetooth audio into your E46 or many other BMWs, but you also get a little bit of extra functionality into the car. And so I emailed Ted and I talked with him for a little while, and he said he just started this as kind of a passion project and sort of spread it out to people on forums and told them about it and offered it to people, and he was blown away by how many older BMWs owners were interested in this product. So looking at it right here, it seems to just be a 3D printed box. I'm sure the guts are just slightly protected by this. This is a smart use of 3D printing. And then okay, so we're gonna get into the installation process. Now, full disclosure, this is a sponsored video. However, if I don't like this BlueBus option, I will let you know that I will be doing something else after owning the car for a little while. But I think this is gonna work out really well. This isn't my daily driver, this is a fun car. I just want some good bump and tunes with this Harman Kardon sound system in my 2006 E46. And this is gonna be part installation, part review. And I think I'm going to break out the installation portion on its own if I find it to be informative and useful. So that might be a separately linked video, but this is going to be the whole thing. So feel free to skip forward if all you want to know is how well does it work. Quick walk around on my 150,000 mile E46 330 Ci. I picked this up for about $4,000 here in Southern California. It's been a California car its whole life. And immediately I refreshed the entire cooling system with parts from FCP Euro, the cooling system kit they make for the E46. I also replaced the entire suspension and engine mounts. I tried to do transmission mounts, but on the automatic, they're very difficult to get out from under the exhaust, so I actually opted not to do the transmission mounts. Maybe I'll return on another day, but I had already been taking on a lot of projects. Last things I need to do, clean it up a little bit, maybe get a new badge and plastic piece right there, clean up the headlights, and then also replace the valve cover gasket because it is dripping onto my exhaust and making a stink. However, I do enjoy driving this car. Check the link below if you want to see our ownership intro, or depending on when you're watching this, any of our other videos on the car. Because the next video that'll be coming after this is explaining why even after all of that suspension work that I did on my own, I had to take the car into the shop and spend $700 to get the convertible top working again properly. And this is a little bit of a spoiler right here. If you watch the first video, you will know these were not always like this. But on to the BlueBus installation. First things first, we need to pop open the trunk and get into the location of our head unit computer, because it's not into the car in the center like many other vehicles. From what I understand, this would be a lot more difficult on an earlier model convertible, especially one with the more basic sound system. However, from my research so far, this should be pretty straightforward on this facelifted nav-equipped E46 convertible. Pull that out. Pull this one out down here as well. Slight break in continuity because I had to run inside and take care of baby, but we're back out here. We've got the carpet pulled back in this E46 with the nav screen. We've got the DVD player input right there for the navigation system, and then more of our cabling back in there. And I'm locating what we need to plug in the BlueBus. And right over here, underneath this part, I saw this digital DSP connection, but it's got this sort of plug on the outside of it. And I don't know if this comes from the car factory or if the car had something in it before. Either way, I think we're gonna have to remove that possibly in order to plug in to this part right here on the BlueBus. And then also tied in and tucked down on the side here within this foam, I had these two connectors that are gonna end up going into the BlueBus. So interesting that I already had those two ready to go. Hopefully your car looks the same. Other than that, I think you can take them out of the CD player. I ended up putting the convertible top up so that I could open up this tray and give myself a little bit of extra space. But this is what you need to know if you're trying to get the phone portion to work for the TCU, the telematics here in the convertible. You don't need to take that much off. We got this part off, pulled back this carpet, and then you see the TCU unit right there, telematics unit. Well, the toughest part is the connector, which is right there, is plugged in on the back, and without having installed it and knowing how to pop off this little white part, which I'll show you on an image right here from an eBay listing, I was not able to get my hands in properly and pull that with the right torque or get it off. So it really was tough wiggling it. I finally ended up breaking the white connector and simply freed this unit right here. And then this is what we'll end up plugging into here, which will then adapt us, plug into the BlueBus. Now I need to figure out where the best place for me to zip tie the BlueBus unit is. Thinking maybe back in there. I might just kind of wedge it in somewhere that seems comfortable behind some of these wires. Sort of just get creative, find a place. I'll show you where I end up putting it. I've got that plugged in, and you want to follow the instructions on there that say arrow must point at factory wire bundle. So we have it in such, clicked, and now got this coming out. We're going to plug this end, as well as, I'm gonna snake it up there, these two, and then I'm gonna have to figure out where'd that go. Here we are, our little DSP plug. Get all three of those plugged in, get all four of those plugged in, and then we should be in business. In recap for your E46 convertible, open the top, or rather close the top, give yourself this clearance here so you can get in there a little bit easier. Pop off the carpet bits, get into your back TCU unit there, force that thing open by technically pulling back on the white bit that's way up in the top. Mostly just figure out a way to pop that TCU bit off, plug it into the adapter that comes with the BlueBus, and then either, if you're lucky like me and you have these extra cables lying around, fantastic. I think it's because I don't have the 6 CD changer, but if you don't, unplug these cables from your 6 CD changer and then plug them in here. Pretty much only one type of cable that works each way into the BlueBus, and then now it's time for us to tuck it in. I'm gonna try just tucking it in sort of using friction and force. I kind of shoved it in below the CD player or DVD kind of navigation system here. I'm gonna see if that works. If I notice it come loose, I guess I could do a better job at zip tying or something. I'm just pretty lazy, to be honest with y'all. Might actually go right up there pretty well too. Well, no. We're gonna go right here. Tucked in with the carpet. We'll see how that works. Alright, been playing around with the BlueBus now for a few days, and I'm pretty familiar with the layout. Now, you will have to forgive me, as I said, the LCD screen, the top level screen on my E46 is clearly seen better days, so it's very splotchy. Now, there is something I can do to have that remedied. Apparently there's people who will do it, or I can do it myself. That is on the agenda, but I want to show you all this right away, even if it doesn't look that pretty. This is the dashboard right here of the BlueBus. So you see I've got my track information, and I've also got coolant and ambient temps showing here, and I'm going to show you how to get that in a moment. Press down on the right stick and you get dashboard, devices, and setting. If you click dashboard, you get right back to where I was. Devices, this is how you pair up a new device. Very easy. Go to pairing, and you can see my Pixel 9 Pro is already paired. Very easy to do there. And let's get down into settings. First off, about, that's very straightforward, shows you your hardware build information. Nothing you're really going to need to regularly access there. Then under audio, you've got autoplay on or off, so when you get in the car, if you want your Bluetooth to start autoplaying, I like that that's a feature because I personally do not want it to start autoplaying, but I know many people will. You have a volume adjustment. Say, for example, if your Bluetooth device is not outputting volume very high, even when it's turned all the way up on your phone, you can adjust the gain right there. DSP, I just have it set on default, but you can also manually choose between digital and analog depending on how you hooked up your BlueBus hardware. Volume management, this will actually set your device's volume to its recommended level. I'm going to try having that on for a little bit. So say, for example, you get in, your phone's Bluetooth volume is very low. This will manually put it up to where it recommends being. Now this might change from device to device, so that's good that you can have it on or off. And then volume in reverse. Do you want the volume to turn down when you put the car in reverse? Maybe if you have a backup camera or something else, you can play with that on and off. Then we get down into calling. And let's demonstrate the mic here real quick. I'm going to show you how well it works. Let's give a call to my wife Alyssa, see if she's available yet. I have not called her yet on this, so it'll be interesting.
Hi, baby.
Hey, sweeties. I am calling you testing the Bluetooth on the phone on camera right now. How do I sound?
Say that again.
I am calling you right now, testing the Bluetooth on the new BlueBus device. How do I sound?
Oh, okay. You sound okay. I had to, I put you on speaker immediately and couldn't hear you all that well, so
Okay.
I turned you up.
All
But,
right. Sounds okay right now, though?
it sounds okay with the sound turned up. Let's see. I have my sound turned up like 4/5 of the way.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. To be fair, I'm static. Maybe I'll try doing a call later while I'm moving as well, see how it sounds. But yeah, just wanted to give a test.
Neat. Okay. See ya.
Bye. Okay, so it sounds like audio quality fairly passable there. I'll have to try to give a phone call when I'm moving on the road to see how it sounds, maybe even with the top down. But you can see just pressing and holding that button launched my Android Assistant, technically Gemini now. Moving our way down into settings, oh wait, we wanted to see calling real quick. So you can turn hands-free on or off. You can change the mic gain. Maybe I could bump the gain up 1 or 2 if people are having a little bit of trouble hearing me. You can also change the volume offset if the volume's too loud inside. What is mode? Default, TCU, no mute, default. Let me check real quick on that. The use of TCU mode, where call audio is piped to the amplifier or radio over the telephone audio wires, or if it should use that mode when it can't use the regular audio path. Okay. And seems to be fine for us, but nice to have that option. In comfort, you can have the doors automatically lock at either 10 kilometers an hour, 20 kilometers an hour, or not have that functionality at all. Then under unlock, you can have the doors automatically unlock either when the car's engine is turned off, when the key is removed, or not have that happen at all. I really like this because I was getting out of the car and the doors were still locked, and I had to pull it twice in order to get it fully unlocked. So I like having them automatically unlock for me. And then blinkers, this is really nice too. You can have it so that when you just tap the turn signal stalk like that, you get a little merge blinker. You can have that do up to 8. So 1, 2, 3, I actually have 4. Most new cars have 3, but I like 4. And then parking lights, depending on your vehicle. The E46, E83, E85, and E86 are not supported, but all the other ones, you can have the parking lights or angel lights come on. That's nice. And then auto zoom, that actually doesn't have a functionality described in the documentation. We're just going to leave that off, but theoretically that has something to do with the built-in nav. Then under UI, you have the options to have the default screen either be the dashboard or the main menu screen. Metadata, you can choose how it shows your Bluetooth metadata. Temps. Now it says that this isn't supposed to work on the E39M5, E46, E52, E83, 85, or 86. Maybe that's just for oil temp because I'm getting my coolant and ambient temp showing up here, and as well as the dash onboard computer. BMBT, this is Bluetooth monitoring, if you want that to shut off after the car reaches 5 kilometers per hour, and then a language adjustment. So a fairly basic, but considering the age of the vehicle, still powerful method of adding Bluetooth to your vehicle, and as well as a few other functions. So for this portion of the video, I am going to compare the audio quality of my Bluetooth FM adapter here to the BlueBus system. And it'll be interesting to hear how a few different songs sound. And I'm going to do it the same way we do our DM sound system tests, which is at highway speeds, or at least I'm going to start off probably 55 mile an hour and then be at highway speeds. And I'm going to use some of our copyright-free test music for most of the video, but then I'm also going to do a few popular songs from our members-only tracks. I'll do some Linkin Park, I'll do maybe some Dua Lipa, and since that's copyrighted, I'm going to have to make it into a separate video. You can check the link below if you want to see that. So let's get on the road. Now, I know some of y'all are going to comment on the static with the FM adapter right away. You have to realize if you live in a major metropolitan area, such as Southern California, essentially every other FM frequency is taken up by a good radio station. So it's very hard to find any sort of gap that's clear for all of the areas that you're going to be driving. biggest differences you're going to notice between something like the BlueBus and something like an FM transmitter is obviously that background static and noise. Even if you're on a fairly clean FM station, you're still going to run into that potential issue. And then also the bandwidth of music that could come through. FM only has so much bandwidth, whereas Bluetooth is going to offer a lot more. So you're going to notice it even more if you listen to more complex music, more rock, more classical. If you're simply hip-hop, R&B, and vocal, you might not benefit that much more from having the Bluetooth built in. But the abilities to use the native in-car controls and the phone with the Bluetooth, the microphone, and everything, definitely big. Now, compared to the EQ of having some aftermarket head unit, I can't necessarily say for sure. Those are going to have adjustable EQs, and theoretically you could fine-tune it right to where you want. However, I trust in the fidelity and the tuning that the BMW and Harman Kardon engineers put into this from the factory, so I would rather keep that essence. And you got to realize it probably changes the EQ when the top's up or down. I don't know if you're going to get that built in with an aftermarket head unit. So all in, I am really satisfied with this BlueBus system. I mean, the install, admittedly a little bit more difficult because there weren't necessarily E46 convertible instructions out there, and hopefully my video helps people with E46 convertibles because it's a little bit more difficult. It's a very simple, straightforward sort of company, and I mean, I don't even think it really is a company. It's mostly just this guy, Ted, who identified that there was a lacking in BMW, older BMW offerings, and also an opportunity to kind of still have this factory system with a little bit of extra functionality, and so he's offered it to the masses, and I really appreciate the work that he's done, and working with them was really nice. For me, I have access to newer vehicles with more modern tech. I wanted to keep the simplicity of the built-in system here with my E46, but just have just that little bit much more ability to have an ease and modern use, and that's what we got here. I highly recommend, check the link down below to purchase your own BlueBus for an older BMW or Land Rover system. And thanks to Ted for working with us. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.